Welcome to, I think, our second or third live in a short vertical format here. Kind of early on this because it takes a while for this to actually show up. I lost my notes here of what I was going to talk about. First, let me talk about the first topic, which that I want to stress on for those on social media. There's been questions about if I'll ever do third-party verification on my trading with Rithmic futures options. I have verified that this is not possible at all with current setup with Rithmic options and futures trading. I've gone through all the major providers. You can check it out on my Quant Labs net. quantlabsnet.com website. I posted a blog post on it today. It goes into the technical on why, with the Rithmic API, the way it's been architected, and the way the standard is. It's basically stateful versus stateless. So most modern APIs are stateless. So there's a variety of things there that I'm not going to be bothered to put in this, talk about in this webinar or live stream. But all I can tell you, it's pretty involved for a lot of the third-party verification providers, services. We're talking TradeMetric, TraderSync, Traders View, the like. These are software journaling for trading for third-party verification. And what's happened is no support. They will support Rithmic Trader, the software. So from Rithmic, there's Rithmic Trader and Rithmic Trader Pro. So the Rithmic Trader Pro is the modern, more modern, but it's still really old. The software, it's got to be at least 10 years old. Anyways, so that version is not supported among all of these journaling software providers. Also, they only support Rithmic Trader, not the Pro version. So that's going to limit. Also, you have to upload the file as well. So basically, the AI, when I generated the article on quantlabsnet.com under the blog section, it verified that that can be manipulated in itself, where I could take out the file that's exported from the software of Rithmic Trader and take out certain trades I don't want. That could be money losers. So I could still manipulate it there. So there's really no point in going through that process unless it's automatically synchronized with the broker. And there's very few brokers that do that. When I was with, or still am, Interactive Brokers and Kraken, I have that capability. But with Rithmic data, where the execution is, it's not supported at all. And it's just also the way the software's been architected. So it's not possible. So it's not possible at all to get any third-party verification through Rithmic at all. Doesn't exist. And that's going to be my primary broker going into next year, as I'm quickly moving into Rithmic. If you got any questions or comments, just type away. I got 4 items I just want to bang out. Thanks for joining. Also, today was a big breakthrough. I've been working on this for a week. I've been able to, with Rithmic Trader Pro, the software they provide is similar to the Interactive Brokers Trader Workstation, where you have your script, your application, whatever it's in Python, .NET, C++, Java. You have your program running in parallel with, in this case, Interactive Brokers, the TWS, the Trader Workstation. Rithmic's exactly the same way, where you have to connect into their software and then basically have it running in parallel. So basically what that means is The only two real languages you can use are C++ and C Sharp. As I said last week, the Python option's just a pure nightmare from a coding perspective because you're using Google Protobuf. But I've managed to get it working with a sample order and sample downloading of data with their C++ edition on Windows. So I've been able to do that. With Rithmic Trader Pro, you're either going to do it through the Chicago location, their servers. So it's called Rithmic One. That's for your live. And then for your test, it's called Rithmic Test. So that's what I've been testing on, is Rithmic Test. I got that working for both downloading a bar and getting an order out with Rithmic through that software, Rithmic Trader Pro. So I've been able to manage to do that. That's a big breakthrough in itself. Now, in terms of the API, I can't talk about it a whole lot at all, really, but what I can obviously comment and give views on it. The data, and I've posted an article on this as well on my blog. There's no examples at all. There's only 3 basic API examples with Rithmic. You just get a bar, the ability to do a simple order both in the .NET and C++ edition. So it's beyond limiting. It's scant. But they do give you the HTML files in the standard rich HTML like they did in the 90s or 2000s. There's no PDF or nothing. They do this out of, I don't know, paranoia. Don't want to get the word out on their API, and it's all the support's got to be done through them as well. So it's really restrictive. So with that, what I've done is I've got bare bones examples. So I can get the order out now. I can download the MotiveWave. I'm using MotiveWave to download futures data into a CSV with MotiveWave. There are no clear examples on how to do that with this API document with Rithmic. It doesn't exist. So you can't use the AI to generate this because there's no public data set for it on how it works. So there's that. Also with Rithmic, the other problem is you're forced to use a platform to download your data, your CSV data for whatever you're watching or whatever you're interested in. So you do that as well. And so you're restricted there, but you have to use a platform. So I'm using MotiveWave for that. The last item I wanted to address was the streaming data now. So when it comes to a trading platform, there's 3 core pieces. There's the either you're going to import historical data into a trading platform or system. You're also going to either stream it into a trading platform or system, and then you're going to have an order coming out of it. And in between, you're going to have your strategy rules. So in this case, the only thing I can get working is the orders. Don't ask, but that's pretty well it. So the last piece is the streaming, probably the most complex. So with the Rithmic Trader Pro, you can live stream via an Excel file in parallel with Rithmic Trader Pro. So that's one of the other ways I'm going to stream data into whatever program with C# and C++. Currently, the way things have been developing, the difference between Visual Studio 2015 that I'm used to and Visual Studio 2022 and 26 is vast. It's overly bloated and just all these unnecessary files. So I'm resorting to JetBrains Writer, which is their .NET IDE. So between those two, I'm progressing. I've made 2 dashboards in C# that can read in these downloaded MotiveWave flat files, CSVs, import them in, and then do the standard dashboards I used to do with both with Python and Streamlit. So I've kind of replicated. I can replicate that on demand. So it's obviously not going to be real HFT or Quant, but it's trying to be as close as possible. One of the dashboards that I created is with Ethereum. That's profitable. That's using an HFT strategy. The code is in there. I also created another one with best way to start the day. Okay. Anyways, the other dashboard I created was with silver, and that created a HFT like strategy as well. That one lost money, but again, I can always change it up and change it around for whatever's needed. Hello, CNN ASS. Yeah, so thanks for joining. Hopefully I blabbed enough to get everything out of the way. So I've got those two dashboards that are already up on my membership as well. Now, if people get past that, we can start. Let's go over questions or concerns or whatever. Oh, hey, okay, got it. How you doing? Yeah, so that's what's been going on. It's a lot. And the last piece I'm developing right now is the streaming capability with this Excel solution and visuals are with C# to get the streaming from the Excel via the Rithmic Trader Pro. It's not an easy process, but I'm telling you, when people say AI does not work, that is so bogus. It works because I wouldn't get as far as I am in terms of knowledge and navigating all this stuff, all this tech stuff on Visual Studio. And yeah, get past that. I couldn't do it without AI. So now with the AI, the new 4.5 Claude Opus came out. The most advanced one is out. So I'm going to try to write that piece to stream the Excel into .NET. And once that's done, we're all good. Oh, people coming in and going. So thanks for joining, Mr. CNN ASS. As I said, I've seen people come and go. I guess, I don't know what they only last maybe not even 10 seconds as I'm seeing coming in. But if you got questions, let me know. I'm here. That's what this is primarily mostly used for. One thing I could say about the channel for YouTube, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to do the screen sharing kind of videos, long form videos. Very few people watch that. I get best response by doing this stuff and then putting up shorts of me, my face, and just me blabbing into a camera. I don't know why. It's how YouTube's set up now, unless it's like some kind of podcasting capability. Just so you know, I'm on my phone and I don't have any other communication to communicate. So if anybody's got questions, we did one stream that lasted 3 hours. We did another one for 1 hour. I know people are out there coming in, but as I said, they come in for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. But from what I understand from the YouTube folks, they said it takes about half an hour for the algo to really amplify the stream into the YouTube general audience. So yeah, that's why I came on early, just to try to maximize that. So I don't have to sit here for an hour hoping people come in. We had our best one was definitely our first stream. Lots of good questions on that. This one I scheduled among all my email and all that. You'd think this is the easier way to stream. There's virtually no friction for people. You just pull up your YouTube app and here you are. No registration needed with Zoom and all that. But I'll try another one on Thursday and talk about my future with this elite membership I got. The cool thing is with all this being developed, Rithmic is, as I said, the only real easy way to get into real, true, high-frequency trading. There's no other way. If you read my article, I posted on my blog about the Rithmic API stuff and verification. The other option is CQG. CQG is not the best. Most platforms prefer to go with Rithmic, and the other one is CQG is $500 a month. So with Rithmic, it's expensive, but it's kind of still somewhat affordable from a retail perspective. If you got questions or comments, let me know. I'm gladly here to answer them as I go through. So yeah, CQG is not the best option. The only other option that's accessible is through Rithmic. And with Rithmic, I'm just on their regular API. I can use C++, I can use .NET. I can have access with the other options because there's 3. That's with the JavaScript and Python. And with that protobuf that they built, you don't want to work with that. It's really, really ugly. And I don't want to, like, if you looked at the Python code, you'd be like, this is the next one step up from assembler. It's pretty, I'm not, but so it's going to be for now probably either the C++ or the C# because they're very similar to each other. But I was just saying, when you're with one of those lower tier APIs, you can move up and then go into their diamond level API. I don't know how much that costs yet, but that's probably more enhanced API. So that's true HFT now we're talking, because when you load up the software, you get access to the colocation for colocation 4, which is within the CME. So if you have servers there in the CME ecosystem, right in the heart of it, you're going through HFT with that, high frequency trading. Again, I don't know how much the cost is. And the other thing, cool thing, once you go that route, you can then access through the Rithmic Trader, access to other data centers like London, Frankfurt, Sao Paulo. So they've got other options for those data centers as well. So this is true high frequency trading. If you get access to through their Diamond API. And the other thing I like about with Rithmic is if you get a working strategy that's consistently profitable, the cool thing about that is then you can, which is kind of not public, but they do offer another service, kind of like a cloud, where you can get into servers, custom servers on a monthly basis, kind of like on Speedy, and they're co-located right in the environment with the CME. So that's why I'm with Rithmic. It's the best option. All right, so we got a comment here. I'm a graduate quant from London this January. Any mid-tier firm for graduate positions recommended? Would love to hear your recommendations. Oh, let's go over that with the career stuff. That is obviously the most popular thing on the internet. As I said before, I'm not going to mention other channels here, but on YouTube. But unless you're getting involved in algo development and more specifically trading as your top priority, all that quant development is not going to help you, or going into as a quant developer will not help you, because there's so many layoffs right now, and the AI where it's at, it's not helping either. So to get into these roles in these firms, mid-tier, whatever, I have been told and confirmed through other sources, you're looking at one role comes up in these firms, you're looking at a few thousand applicants. So you got to be not just top notch from a PhD level, let's say. I think you need to be focusing where the programming's kind of like a lower priority. And you got to focus on both math, algo development. The AI can definitely help you there. But more importantly, you got to showcase your trading skills. You can't get into firms, even without the education, with a proven third-party track record. I've already talked about that, which is kind of difficult with Rithmic, but it still kind of leads you into that. So if you missed that, just watch the earlier video of this when it renders. But what I'm saying is you have to showcase your trading skills. Not only that, but you want to get into portfolio management. Portfolio management's probably your highest paying, into the millions, especially specifically if you're in London as well. They got an entrepreneurial arrangement that you can arrange with some of the firms, which is really good. So portfolio manager is probably your best bet to get into, or at least try to kind of like, that's the end kind of position you want, because you're not only bringing in value to a firm that it's very low probability of gotten rid of, or AI will replace you. But if you bring in value and consistent profit for a firm, you will consistently be pulling in multi-million-dollar bonuses and packages and stuff. And you also get to run your own team. So they'll give you a budget, and that budget will cover all your developers and your researchers as well. So that's the kind of role you want. Now, if you're coming in from a quant developer, unfortunately, it's just thousands of people you're up against for one role. I've already written about people trying to get into these internships at these firms like Jane Street and a bunch of others. But that's done anyways, because right now is typically when you would apply for the summer. So it's competitive there. That's usually the best place you can go to get attention from the recruiters. The other way that I've seen to get attention is one of the interviews from one of the high profile for the meetups, specifically if you're in Chicago. Hopefully you've seen that video. And I think that may be an easier way to get in, because some of the firms will sponsor those meetups, which is good. So that can help you get attention as well. But it is beyond fierce competition. And I keep saying and keep hammering away on this. If you want to be successful in this field, you have to be more entrepreneurial than ever. It's not just about coding. It's not about algo development or software programming. It's about trading. You have to bring in a third party, verified track record that's good, and that the firms will pay attention to it. And then blast it out on social media to build a following. That's how you get in now and build yourself as a brand and go in as a portfolio manager. It's not enough anymore to be a star coder or star mathematician unless you're coming out of a very high level program like from MIT or on that level. It's that competitive where the recruiters will specifically only focus on a few schools, MIT being an example, to get in. I just don't like to be doom and gloom, but I also like to be real, because this is the way it's going. And as I said before, AI is not helping. But the thing is that you can kind of reverse engineer what the AI generates. I've just found, and one of the projects I've posted, you can now get AI to generate FPGA code for you. It names the board. It's a Xilinx board, $5,500 US. It will give you the I think it's VHDL code. And I kind of looked into FPGA as well with the devs. There's some kind of development studio that you use. It's very primitive with FPGA and that language. But if you could also learn that, you could probably get into firms like Optiver as well. But from what I see and understand when it comes to FPGA engineering, a lot of the electronic engineers are getting those kind of jobs. So if you're coming out of engineering with an electronics engineer, that's another path as well. If you're if you're an undergrad level, maybe start focusing on engineering. If FPGA is something of interest, there's some good videos on FPGA development as well. I would just specifically look at Alteryx for that, or Xilinx. Those are the two big FPGA board manufacturers. I do have track record on FX Blue. I've added in my cover letter, but no positive. Yeah, see, if you're doing FX stuff like retail forex, that's good. But I will tell you this, and I hate saying this. I hate saying being a deliverer of bad news. It's one thing to be crypto. You could be forex or even stock and equity. Most of the firms now, the big names, Optiver, Jane Street, all the ones that I've mentioned, Citadel, most of their trading is going to be pushed through futures and options. So that's going to be exactly what I talked about when it comes to Rithmic and the CME. That's kind of where you need to be and build off some form of verification off that. But as I said at the start of this stream, to get third-party verification is impossible. I mean, it's one thing if you're trying to publicize it to a crowd of people and protect your data, but if you do get recruiters that are interested and you do show that you have profit, you can easily just give them a login ID to your Capital FCM or broker and let them see the records themselves. So that's ultimately the best way to go if they are highly interested to verify your trading skills. But you definitely need to stick with futures and options. If you got questions, let me know. I'm here to help wherever I can. I'll try to be as realistic. I don't like leading people down the wrong path because it can be a big investment in terms of emotion and intellect and all that. But yeah, you definitely need to go down the route of futures and options via CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That shows legitimacy of what you're trying to do, institutional level. I think what's been going on with Bitcoin now over the last week or so, how it's dropped 30+%. From what I'm seeing, the likes of BlackRock and whatnot, they're manipulating this asset class. There's no doubt about it. And the thing is that will crypto be legitimate? If it does, it's going to be through the CME. It's going to be routed through the CME for legitimacy and regulation. That's another thing. With the new regulation that's coming, the AI told me that with the new, there's two acts coming with NASDAQ, or basically it's coming through CFTC and the SEC. Number one, what they're focusing on is to prevent high-frequency trading firms to quote stuff or jump the queue to manipulate retail order flow. So if you're not familiar, what we're talking about here is Robinhood, as an example, that sell their order flow to a large HFT shop. Look it up. It's real. So specifically, the only country that allows this is the U.S. And they're looking at to prevent that from happening. So one of the consequences of doing this, if you're caught, is they will just come in and steal all your servers without question, without punity. That's it. Because the CME's got to sign off on this stuff now, and your data provider, if it's Rithmic, will be signing off on this as well. It's going to be strict regulation on this. And this is the future. So be aware of that. But the AI is helpful there. As I said, if you got questions or comments, let me know. I'll help you out where I can, career or not. But coming back to career, unfortunately, this is the way it's going. I think to get attention, because there's so much noise out there for these jobs and legitimacy of what is real HFT. I do see, and I've said this before, all the social media. I'm HFT on Interactive Brokers. I am HFT on MetaTrader, whatnot. This stuff does not exist. It's just a crock. I hate to say it, but it's just fraud. It's just a bunch of people wanting to make money, putting out a bunch of lies and whatnot. So the real HFT is when you are working with a large regulated institution like the CME, the ICE, or the Eurex, which is institutional. As I said, futures and options, baby. That's it. That's real high-frequency trading. And your only real accessible way to get into that through the various steps is via Rithmic. CQG, as I said, is very expensive. All the trading platforms, all the brokers prefer you to be on Rithmic anyways. So Rithmic has pretty well a near monopoly on this. So that's how it is. How it is right now, and I don't think it'll change. Even the AI said it's not going to change, okay? If you got any comments or feedback on it, what I'm saying here, be my guest. I just think some of I'm using now, as I said, the latest AI, and it's pretty good at the predictions and the things that I'm speaking, because I'm just speaking on what I'm learning from this AI stuff. The programming I'm getting there is just that last piece, as I said, streaming Rithmic data via, the way I see it, via Excel is one of the only options on Windows. So, and if you want to learn, this is kind of the only path you have. If you want to do real high frequency trading and build out a strategy that works, because the next step after that to get into the CME, let's say, and co-located in the CME, you're looking at 1 year term on all the different data. You're probably looking at least $150,000 just to start as an investment, including the yearly contracts for data through the CME that you can only get through the CME. Also, you're probably looking at a $20,000, $30,000 investment for your server, your rig, as well. So you're probably in about 120, 150. That's probably bare bone expense. So, but if you do get your strategy profitable, yeah, you can make a lot, in the millions for sure, if you go this route. But it's a hard, drawn out process to get to that point. This is true at HFT. Crypto is going to be still important, but again, it's going to be regulated out of our yin yang. I hate saying it. As I said, with the new NASDAQ and the new CFTC regulation. I don't know when it's coming, but that's what's being tabled. And it makes sense to regulate this stuff, all the cheating that goes on, not just from a high-frequency trading point of view, but also how it impacts mom and pop and just regular retail flow, order flow as well. So I hate saying it. It is needed. And normally I'd say, yeah, I support it now because I'm one of those retail folks that are really, really have a lot of high incentive to get into this stuff because it can be very lucrative. And as I keep saying, I would not be getting here without the AI. Artificial intelligence levels the playing field. That's all I could tell you. And that takes away a lot of the edge a lot of these big multi-billion-dollar firms had. Takes away that edge. And the thing is that because of that, it just levels the playing field. You just got to have the motivation to do it, and hopefully the capital, if you do decide to do it, or maybe pull together some kind of investment little private fund. You could do that as well. But everything has to be above board. No questions asked about that. As I said, we got some new people, I think, coming in. If you got questions or comments, don't be afraid to type in anything you might have. I'm talking about high frequency trading now, where it's at. So my 3-month track record above build over my studies. Yeah, that's pretty high motivating, dude, to be able to do that. I'm not here to knock what you're doing. I think that's very admirable. And I think if you're already above, let's say, the average, I think you're just doing Forex, and if that's fine, if you're able to even beat the markets with consistent leverage, that's good. You have the trading knowledge and the working knowledge that maybe you can apply that to the path that I'm going down via futures and options on the CME as well. So that is very possible, and they do have leverage as well. It's just a lot more conservative. You're not going to find 100 times leverage like in a Forex broker or a crypto broker. It's very highly regulated, so there's no doubt on that. But salute you for it, dude. Did you ever have issues with API rate limits when you were on IB? Rate limits in what way? Are we talking execution speed? Because if you're going through Trader Workstation, there's a bit of a delay. But I wouldn't worry about it because it's not high-frequency trading. If you're just going in on a mid-frequency, that's fine. Those delays don't really impact you. If you want to cut that out, go through the Interactive Brokers Gateway. The best way to learn all of this is with the fixed protocol. Interactive Brokers does have that. Somebody on one of these streams told me it's $600 a month to do fixed protocol on Interactive Brokers. So, but that's institutional level. So if you want to self-learn for career, you could do that as well. Is this JDI? I just wonder, the same guy from last week. Yeah. So you have those options, but I was at a point where I was like, oh man, I was getting kind of tired of how I was progressing with Rithmic. But I'm telling you, I have to stick it out with Rithmic because Interactive Brokers is an easy way to do it. on futures and options. But if you do want to go and you get real successful, and you do want to go real high frequency trading, I hate to say it, man, the only way in is via Rithmic Diamond API, or using any of their custom servers as well. So that's true HFT. I just don't know what your end game goal is. So that's hard to say. Anybody else got any questions or comments as well? Let me know. So 40 minutes, 35 minutes. Yeah, if I'm wrong about the latency or sorry, the API rate limits, let me know. But I think you're referring to if there's a delay on execution with TWS. It's very small, but it does exist if you're going through the Trader Workstation. If you want to get around that with the gateway, that's possible. The other thing is with TWS, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. it's just, from what I'm seeing, the Rithmic software seems better. And then, as I said, if you do plan to go true HFT, it's Rithmic, and that's kind of it, unless you go with the CME. And that's even harder, from what I understand, with the CME API. It's pretty tough. And they only support C++ and I believe Java. So, yeah, you got to be pretty good to accomplish that as well. Who's got questions, comments? That's what I'm here for, man. As I said earlier, I'm not sure if I'm going to do any of these long form videos like I've done before. It's just, in order for me to grow this channel, I have to do it with me, my ugly mug, being on camera. Everybody wants their shorts or short. Everything's on the phone. I'll just say that. So it's going to be limiting. But I can still do long form and host at other places. That's not a problem. But from what I'm seeing, it can impact this channel as well. So anyways, if you got questions or comments, let me know. I did a whole chat over the last first 20 minutes of this, so watch that about where I'm at on the development. It's pretty far that I've gone, and get on my newsletter, or just get on my blog at quantlabsnet.com to see the latest. But the last piece I have is a streaming with Rithmic. I do have access to full API for Rithmic. It's hard to get through because there's no examples on it at all, and it's tough. And I don't really want to waste my time on that, especially in the AI world where I can get answers and code done within, fully running code within an hour usually. So I don't like to go down that path. As I said, if you got questions or comments, let me know on this. I'll gladly answer where I can. I've already answered the career stuff. I've already answered, I guess, an interactive brokers question, but and another thing I'll say about futures and options, as the markets are looking, it's not looking pretty. There's a couple of instruments that people are going to have to watch, and the best place to do that is on futures and options is with agricultural product, soybean, corn, and VIX is going to be the big ones that will move. The AI told me that gold at best may go range bound, so there'll be no unless there's a absolute severe panic in gold. But again, I'd rather be on options and futures to enhance my trading potential with those. Hello, Aaron. How are you? Welcome. If you got questions, let me know. That's what we're here for. But as I said, I'd rather be in futures and options than anything else, because one thing I learned with ETFs, if you want to focus on these agricultural product, even VIX, you're going to find there's a delay on the ETF front. And the other problem is it can be manipulated as well. But you can't do that with futures and options. So again, it's a good set of asset classes to focus on. And, you still get your currencies. It's pretty well everything, except individual stocks. Everything else you have. Aaron, you got any questions, comments? You were pretty active 2 weeks ago. I did appreciate you having your questions, or JDI or Locust Sheltner 120. That's what I'm here for, answering your comments or questions. Thank you for the like. I appreciate that. If you're not a member, just subscribe as well on YouTube. And as I said, there's a lot going on with everything. With the latest Bitcoin drop, it's pretty shocking. It's really nice to see you talking and giving info. I don't mind. The only thing I can hide out there on internet anywhere is, as I said, the terms of service of Rithmic. I can't talk about the API. I personally will not talk about their software, the Rithmic Trader Pro or Trader, because of their terms of service. And there are some pretty good videos on the software. As I said, for the streaming via Excel, there's some videos on that if you want to learn that. But personally, I won't talk about it. I'm not breaking terms of service for a video or some kind of online presence. This is not possible. If you got questions, let me know. If you got comments, I appreciate you being here. I really am for this. It's kind of weird talking into a camera, and there you are, especially live. I mean, I'm used to it on Zoom, but this, something else. Completely understand. Yeah, so with the Rithmic, it's very tight. If you go on to anything on Reddit, people ask it for the API help, they'll just say, and even Rithmic itself say, come to us. We're the ones to solve the problems. No one else. So that's who you got to go through. One thing, if you do sign up with Rithmic and the API service, one thing that you should do and be aware of, their support email is just one. So they get tons of questions on development. They get tons of questions from paying customers. It's all through one pipe at their support email. From what I was told, if you want to speed up your answers, CC your rep in the email, your rep from your introducing broker, okay? That will expedite the response immensely. And I can vouch for that as well. So that's a tip I got from my fine folks on my trading introductory broker. CC them on your all correspondence to Rithmic, because then they'll see that and say, oh, that's a paying customer, and they'll verify that too. The Rithmic support they do respond. I don't want to sound negative here, but they do respond. Their documentation is something else, or lack of, I should say, for something so important. You only get 3 working demos, unless you go the complicated way with the protobuf and Python. They'll give you some better examples as well, but good luck with that. It's like working with assembler. It's horrible with protobuf. Anyways, if you got comments and questions, let me know via the commenting. I do think Rithmic does this on purpose. I think it's just kind of like a hazing process. Yeah, you can pay for $100 a month, but if we know you have technical and you get something successful, yeah, you can upgrade to the diamond, but you're going to pay for it, and you'll get better treatment, I'm sure of it, with their diamond service, because that's really geared towards going true HFT, and probably the only way through outside of the exchange itself, which is for sure you don't want to go through, because I guess one of the disadvantages with, let's say you only go with a CME, okay? The problem is if you go with a CME API and CME only, you're stuck with a CME. You can't go onto Eurex, you can't go onto ICE, and any of the other exchanges as well. So I can tell you, once you get past this with Rithmic, and you'll see it in the Rithmic Trader Pro, they have so many connections to so many servers and so many exchanges. It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. I'd rather be with Rithmic, to be honest, because it's one gateway into all of the different major futures and options exchanges. Obviously, CME is the big one, but there's some other ones if you want to focus on Europe. You want to, like, there's, I don't know if people know, but Singapore SGX is getting big on crypto. So SGX may give CME a run for their money on the crypto exchange. So that's just one example why you may want to stick with Rithmic for all this, because it's like a wrapper to all the big institutional traders. Okay, do you use Claude or Manus mode for coding? What a question. I use now, obviously, Claude 4.5. It works flawlessly. I did try Manus again. Oh, it's so expensive, dude. It is beyond expensive. Stick with Claude. Manus is fantastic, but it's 10 times the cost of Claude, and people can't even afford Claude 4.5. It's crazy. Okay, I'm missing. Do I use Claude? I appreciate all the questions. Aaron's got, what do you think about the fractal market hypothesis? It's something that I've been working on, and it's very connected with physics. Apparently, strategies like this lower the drawdown and give higher return. Yeah, with that question, lower level, again, it's a big side I have here. The thing is with fractal market and physics related, yes, HFT shops love their physics majors or PhD, okay, because it's the way they think from a quant mathematical perspective. In terms of lowering the drawdown, like I said about AI, it can lower the playing field, and you can use AI to get the same kind of results on the algo, HFT-like, quant-like strategy, or bot, dare I say bot. And nothing can guarantee the return. As I said, with the return that I've seen on one of my dashboards that I just did for silver, which was HFT-like, I'm glad I'm doing this because it would lose money while silver is going up. Worked okay for Ethereum. So when you come out with this strategy in your head, you have to feed it into an AI, okay? Because you could waste your time. And the good thing, as I said before, you can use AI to do all your back testing for you. But then people say, well, I'm going to lose my intellectual property on this strategy. I wouldn't even worry about it, because you could spin your wheels, develop it some algo, and it doesn't work. Like this one I did for silver, it was laughable. And it looked great. It looked awesome. But it lost money over the last 3 months when I back tested it via the AI. So you just, I hate saying it, unless you're willing to spend and probably spin your wheels on this type of development, just hand coding it without the assistance of AI, you could be wasting your time. And I don't like saying that. It's hard. And I think we're now at a level now with AI so advanced where AI is here to stay. And I don't look at coding as much as I used to, because I know the code that's generated is pretty top notch and it's efficient. So I would look at a piece of code when I know something's running, it's consistently running, and I can reverse engineer from that, okay? So if you've got questions, let me know. Comments are welcome, blah, 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 all that. So that's where I think we're at and where we're going to. The reason I say that is because look at the markets right now. The market regime's shifting so fast, almost daily. You could try to build a trend following strategy, and it works great. And then all of a sudden it just drops. So for instance, I love this example. Look at, you're following that Rheinmetall stock, the German military defense manufacturer, right? So they're popping along nice and well. And then all of a sudden, Trump comes along, and U.S. comes along and say, hey, we're having a peace deal agreement with Russia, and look what happens to that stock. Okay, that stock got not killed, but 20-25% loss. So that's one of those exogenous events that you can't predict for, and you're going to see they're going to be everywhere, like weeds. All these exogenous, unpredictable events where these nasty drawdowns are going to be everywhere. So you're going to have to be able to adjust to that very quickly. And I think the speed of this with the assistance of AI is the only way to survive this. You cannot run the same algo strategy for years on end and expect it to work. It worked for 15 years when you get that trend. Yes, trends your friend for 15 years, but now everything changes. And I used to write me a trend following strategy, but now everything's mean reverting because it's all going what appears to be range bound. And a good one to work on that would be like a treasury. That's what I might work on as well. So you say, thanks for the advice. AI is really nailing it, and it's very practical, less time, less knowledge, and working in strategy. But reverse engineering strategy is smart, optimizing something that would work smart. Yeah, I think that's kind of the best approach I see it, to reverse engineer it. I think I'm not saying you can vibe code your way through this. You can't. You have to be a highly competent developer, software developer to get through this, because it's not easy. So if you're coming in with zero or near zero coding skills, it helps, yes, but you don't know what works or not. You can run an AI backtest, and then blah, 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 you run it, and all of a sudden you run it live on money, and it blows up. You don't know why, because you didn't predict for that, as I said, for that unpredictable exogenous event, or everything just suddenly goes mean reverting. So you have to be very quick to be able to respond and come up with new strategies on the fly pretty well, maybe even same day, as they would expect at a high frequency trading firm anyhow, and be able to whip one out very quickly. So there's that. So blah. If you got questions or comments, let me know. I'm here to help. But yeah, AI is very, very, very good for that. So if you're hand coding and you're some master ninja on Python or C++, that's not going to be enough now. You might be good for a firm, but as I said, when you go in, they're paying you $500,000. They expect you to be able to do what I just said. Like they come in, hey, we got this new idea. We need it in 3 hours. Yeah, you got to code that up. And they may or may not let you upload the intellectual property to an AI. They may keep it all local, so you'll be highly restricted on that as well in a firm. So you will be dependent upon your ingenuity to be able to come up with your trading code and how to implement it right on the spot quickly. People need to understand, they don't pay people hundreds of thousands of dollars just because they're nice. They do it because there's two things they look out of you. That you're competent to be able to generate these strategies very quickly, like within hours, quite literally. The other thing, what they look for is that you not just code it up very quickly. They expect you to be able to think like a trader as well, because not a lot of traders from trading desks are that sophisticated. You might have some quant research. You may even have people yelling at you, for all I know. But that's the expectation. You got to be able to code this stuff very quickly, and that's why they screen very, very tightly on the recruiting process. They're not just going to bring in somebody that has, they're awesome C++ and they can code around, like the Linux kernel or something, or bypass. That's so. I mean, that's important, yes, but the trading and math is way more important. Have you used Gemini Pro for coding strats, or use the agent from Anti-Gravity? Regarding the previous topic, then it's about speed and less risk with the changing markets. I think one of the videos I put out, the only way now to do it is, I hate saying it, Quant 4.5. Nothing else. I have tried Gemini. I've just tried Gemini Grok 4 all the Chinese ones, even the Codex 5.1 from GTP, from OpenAI, they're nowhere close to Claude. And then the key thing is Claude, I don't know how they built it, but it's killer at finding bugs and providing solutions. I've not seen any AI LLM do that ever out of the ones I mentioned. Quant Coder 3 is kind of getting there, but what happens is when you go down these paths with any of these outside of Claude, you just go through this debugging and you just go around in circles and circles and circles. And you want to kill it? You got to use Claude 4.5. That's all I can, based upon my experience. That could be with any language. It depends upon the language as well. JavaScript and Python, a lot of these AI LMs are very good because there's so many data sets out there for both JavaScript and Python. I just started trying it with .NET and C#, and it's nowhere as killer as with Claude 4.5. One way to get around that is to do everything in Streamlit, Python, stick with that, see what it can bang out, and then later on you can see what it bangs out, and then on your next prompt when you want to convert it to C++ or .NET or whatever, you say, hey, add these features that I saw you could generate with JavaScript or Python. That's how I look at it. Yeah, that's what I have seen with Claude. It's amazing. Also in Twitter, people there's preferring it. Yeah, people may not know this from a business point of view. OpenAI from a consumer point of view, the top AI out there, LLM, call it whatever, is OpenAI. Like, without a doubt, ChatGPT. I see it in my traffic. I see it. Another one that's from the consumer is Perplexity. I've been playing that with the new Comet browser. It's pretty cool. But from a B2B, business to business, Anthropic, Claude is number one, especially when it comes to coding. Claude again, number one without a doubt. I know, bless their little heart, Microsoft are trying with their little Copilot. They're just bombing it, and they know if they want to expedite from a competitor standpoint, they have to follow Claude 4.5. That's why everyone's fawning to Anthropic, because they're the only legitimate LLM that works. Everything else is subpar. If you got questions, let me know. I'm all game. The other thing I found with, I tried out what's called LM Studio, and what's the other one called? Olama.com. I tried that a few weeks ago, and I kind of got it working. I think there's potential there with it. So if you're building out a trading strategy, you could quite possibly have the this kind of solution be able to dynamically generate code for you for new strategies on the fly. I can see that potential. I have seen, and I've tried it out, it's one of my projects on my membership, where I asked Manus to build out a complete high-frequency trading system with agents. And it did it. It built it. It built all the stub code, everything. It's very complicated, but I think with all that in mind, it's very possible. If you're willing to spend money doing something like that, I think it's possible, but you gotta pay some big bucks. It's from what I'm seeing on each prompt on Claude 4.5 versus Manus. Yeah, Manus is 10 times more, but I think it's very capable of doing it. And I think with this notion of agents and stuff, the architecting these platforms are going to be very interesting. And I still want to play around with the MCP and the RAG stuff. I've kind of played around with it, but they want you to download LangChain, and I don't like. Then I have to install Torch and TensorFlow and all that. I'd rather go through the cloud through an API. That's what I want to do. Life is too short to do that. And then once you get a solution, it's like, oh yeah, a week later you're gonna have to redo it all because a new version came out of something. It's just it's hard, and also same thing on the hardware front too, because from what I understand, if you're running one of these home built lab things with AI on it, the processor with a GPU on it just overheats because You know, like I almost had a computer get set up on fire not long ago, and that computer was out the door. So you have to play it safe. I'm not kidding you. So I would rather go through cloud as well. So who knows? If you got comments, questions, thanks for joining. Talking here with Aaron. What do you recommend for startups working to build a hedge fund? Would you recommend them to jump straight to HFT for secret sauce you talked about, or AI strats for a fast result? I think it's a combination of both. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go around, because realize that other people are going to be doing this, them and their dog, and their uncle too. So the competition will be fierce there at some point when these AI LMs become more accessible and more cheap because of the competition. And the one that will drive that down is China. It's how it always is. So it will get to a point where you'll be able to get accessible high-frequency trading strategies for sure. I don't know when. The way the AI is going, it could be a couple of months. I'm already seeing it as well. And as I said, with all the technology there as well, where you can get trading systems to self-adapt to markets and bang out new code, new strategies, I think it can be done for sure. So from an from a hedge fund perspective, this is the hard part when it comes to external investors. It's going to get harder to do that because everyone's going to be doing it, and it's already difficult to do it because you have to go through lawyers. Just for an example, if you wanted to set up an HFT setup just for yourself, the AI can walk you through all the steps. I think I got a video on that somewhere. And basically what you got to do is you got to spend $6,000 to $10,000 just on a lawyer to navigate you negotiating the access into the CME. There's a lot you have to go through. You have to set up an LLC, and this is just for yourself. You have to have a kill switch. You have to have all kinds of steps you have to go through just to set up your own operation if you want to go the HFT route. It's not easy. That can run you $6,000 to $10,000 just on the legal front. And then you have to, on top of that, build it out. It's hard enough to do it on your own for your own need. In terms of a corporate, one way somebody told me, if you have really big investors in the millions, you can set up that LLC and split it up as a corporation where you have majority interest, and then as they come in, you issue out separate shares to that corporation. You could probably do that based upon investment and performance, and then pay it back through some form of a dividend. That probably be the easiest way to set up some kind of legal structure for this, because you're bringing in external investors through like an SEC regulatory or CFTC. It's not going to be fun, and I wouldn't recommend anyone to do that. That's all I can say. But the corporate via shares probably easiest. Yeah, so you saw that $150,000 video. Cool. Yeah, but let me just say this. The payoff, if you do it yourself, and I think it's easier, the payoff is way better. Thanks for the likes. If you're on here, comment away, ask away. Yeah, LLC corporate is clever. Yes, you know who I learned that from? If you look up on my channel, London Quant, he told me that. That's how he set up his firm. And he had, there was a seed capital in the millions. And they brought in shareholders. If you want in, this is what it's going to cost you for these amount of shares, and we'll pay you based upon that. Another way you could do it from a retail point of view is through the Interactive Brokers Friends and Family account. You can have up to 4 people on that account. So that's another option. But again, because you have that trading account, you kind of will be, again, medium frequency. So you won't get, I don't really know if you can get co-located on the CME via Interactive Brokers. That'd be an interesting question to get answered. I'm sure somebody could be doing that right now. Help, help, help. Yeah, so if you got comments, questions, let me know. It's been over, what, an hour, 4 minutes. Thank you very much for being here. So, yeah, that's probably your easiest way. But if you're already an investor and have all the regulation, you have the licenses and stuff, one way is through Interactive Brokers. They're specifically geared towards that kind of operation. But it'd be interesting to see if they have CME access co-location services into the CME and other exchanges as well. I think that would be a very interesting answer. Then my question is, why am I being on Rithmic and going through that pain myself? So I don't know. But again, what I'm talking about is real high frequency trading stuff. This is not oh, MetaTrader, I'm going to go through some retail forex broker. Or even TradingView. I mean, TradingView is very good on the data front because you can get sub-second data, even from the CME and the ICE. So that's another very good option. And the thing is, the problem with that is you're on PineScript. So reason I'm going the route I'm going with the .NET or C++ is I don't have restrictions. None. I'm not restricted by the platform. I'm not restricted by MetaTrader or TradingView. So I have no restrictions. As I said, the three components now of any trading platform or any trading, call it whatever, system, you got your data, and you might have your historical data as input to do your back test, and then you got your streaming data into the system. You have your, and at the other end, you're gonna have your orders, your trading execution. In between that is your strategy rules for whatever you're trading on. So that's important to know. If you got questions or comments, let me know. Yeah, but that's very interesting thing I just came up with on the fly here. PineScript is too limited. I love TradingView, but for the long-term growing is not the best. Yeah, I mean, I think, Aaron, again, you're asking bonus excellent questions. I really appreciate that. Really adds to the stream. PineScript, I should say, sorry, TradingView is excellent. If you're wanting to learn, even on a kind of like a high frequency trading, I think PineScript is kind of limiting, and it's proprietary, let's be honest. But if you kind of want to learn about trading and learn about potentially algorithms that you can apply to the PineScript, it's fantastic. But again, you're on a retail trading platform, a highly profitable one, and a lot of people, and I don't know if institutions are on it, but a lot of big firms are on it, specifically the prop trading firms, which I already addressed last week about them being a scam, but they are. Anyways, the only route to kind of be liberated from all these restrictions is the route I'm talking about, via an API with a popular language that does not restrict you. And that's good. I mean, Python, you can get away with it, but as I said, you're going to go through protobuf fun. I wish I could show you the code. It's like assembler. You'd be like, no. Anyways, and then your other choices are C++ and C#. You could develop things in Python, and the thing is about Rithmic is that you can call like an executable on Windows or in Linux, create a bin file, and have it. One of the programs that they give you as demo is just a simple order that you can do. And part of the arguments is your credentials, your exchange, your symbol, and buy or sell. That's it. That's all you got. Sorry, that's all they give you. So there's not a lot there, but the API documents, I'm sure, will tell you that. But again, no AI. I'm liking my instant result answers, but I'm probably gonna have to go through the pain of trying to figure this out from the documentation. That's just the way it is for Rithmic. I already talked about enough about Rithmic. Who's got questions, comments? Don't be shy. Aaron, what else you got? Yeah, so we talked about corporate structure from a firm point of view. Oh, we got something new. Hello, Purple Dawn. Do you have a reference for single process trading infrastructure architecture, including stream instrument, demultiplexer, time and alt bar aggregator, virtual, external execution, reconciliation, etc.? Reference architecture. I don't, because I have specific requests. I go through the AI. So I resort now heavily dependent on AI for what you're asking. Now, if you're talking about demultiplexers, are we talking hardware or software? And stream instrument demultiplexer, same thing, hardware or software? Because these are things I have not really looked at, but I'd have to really dig deep into what you're referencing, because obviously it's YouTube with limited typing. But I can't, those could be highly advanced topics that I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of knowledge on. But whenever I see demultiplexer, I'm thinking hardware. Oh, software, quote stream, demult, separating whole market stream into certain instruments. I see what you're saying. Yeah. You can do that through Rithmic Trader Pro. They have the different instruments available. I don't know if you're on Interactive Brokers Trader Workstation. It's very similar. What you can do with Rithmic Trader Pro, there's lots of videos I mentioned already on this. Just look up Rithmic Trader Pro, because this is the only option you really have anyhow, unless you're going through the exchange. The best I can offer you is look for on YouTube Rithmic Trader Pro live streaming on Excel. So what it does is you have what they call a quote board on the Rithmic Trader Pro, and you have all the instruments that you want. What you can do is they have a little option at the top, and you push the Excel option, and what you can do is you can actually live stream and mimic what you have in Excel, and then from there you can access all your coding through the Excel. That's the only convenient way to do it. You could also try it through the API, but it's way too early for me to get to that. Rithmic, can you specify which instrument you are interested in? I'm thinking more data bento. Okay, one thing you need to understand about data bento, it's data only, okay? I've been thinking about this. It's a very expensive option. Like to get access to everything, that's gonna cost you a couple grand, okay? But you can't do any trading or execution through it. Orders. Data bento is data only, okay? Just make sure you understand that. But with Rithmic, it's the same as what data bento offers, but you get the orders and execution, because it's kind of like a broker, but you got to have the introductory broker to interface you to Rithmic. That's the best answer I can give you. Now, in terms of the specific instruments, it depends what's moving, and it depends upon how much funding you put into the account. If you're starting small, you're going to be focusing mostly on the micros, highly limited selection there. If you go into the E-minis, you'll have a bit more selection, but when you get into the big boy stuff, the fancy pants contracts, you're going to have an account size that's pretty monster. Just to fill a standard ES contract's around 25K with the margin requirements. So that's what we're talking about here. So you're going to have a very big account on the futures. So I'm not sure if that kind of answers what I'm saying. And as for Rithmic, it's the only way really to get into the co-located. Data bento is just data. I've looked into it. Fantastic API, especially for Python. It's great for analyzing and building things, but when you want to go into trading, specifically real high-frequency trading or migrate into high-frequency trading, Rithmics are your only option. I've already talked about CQG. The price alone is just is exorbitant, especially if you're starting small. So I wish I could give you better answers, unless you have something more specific, unless you want to add on something new to it. Because from what you're telling me, how I'm interpreting it, that's how I see it with these multiplexer streams and whatnot. You would have to do it through the Rithmic trading software, Rithmic Trader Pro, and then synchronize it into via Excel. That's my next step. And there are videos that do that. Oh, there's something I didn't ask. What about running the code in Heike, Ashi, not Candlestick for filtering trend. Okay, if you're going to do that, just stick with a platform. Just stick with Quant Tower seems to be the best one for this. So if you're going to do that, I don't know if you're with a broker already. AMP is pretty good because Quant Tower is free. So if you sign up to AMP Trading, they have a white label license. It's free because you're an AMP customer, AMP futures. So that is an option if you want to do the Heike, Ashi, and candlestick stuff, because that's technical indicator. I play around with the Ichimoku cloud and all. That's all technical analysis. And if you're going to do that, just stick with a platform. That's the easiest. You can build your own libraries with whatever language for that. To me, it's just overkill because you're kind of like sticking with an AI, like a retail. Here's the thing: what I'm trying to get people to do. As I said, if you got questions or comments, just jump in. But what I'm trying to do overall is trying to get people out of that the technical analysis mindset and or fundamental analysis mindset. It's a very hard shift. And when you move into the quantitative analysis mindset, then now you're talking something totally different. So, meaning if you're focusing on the Heike, Ashi indicator, you're still in the technical mindset. You want to move into the heavy math and the quantitative. That's what I try to do. So hopefully that's the best answer I can give you, Aaron. Purple asks on LLCs, don't you get hit with pro market data feeds? I think you can avoid pro feeds in a single member, but not sure if that is true for all markets. Yes, that's 100% accurate. No problem, Aaron. Yes, that's 100% accurate, Mr. Purple Dawn, or Mrs. Purple, I don't know, Purple Dawn. That is 100% accurate. When you sign up for futures and options trading account via the CME, this is regulatory now, you will probably pay 10 times if you go in on the pro. You want to go in as non-professional because your costs are going to be much lower. I don't know if it's 10 times. It's going to be a factor of probably, from what I'm seeing, anywhere from 3 to, it just depends what you need. But if you go pro, and as I said, if you go with the LLC, that I'm not sure, but you'd want to stick it out as an individual. If you're going in a research mode or testing mode, going as a you want to go in as a non-pro, and the only way to do that is with as an individual, and just keep it at that, keep it simple until you're 100% sure you got something working, and then scale it up to corporation and LLC and whatnot, and then you will have to go in as a corporation. So you said $300 versus $5. I've got a memory of a NAT, so I'm not sure what you might be referring to there, Purple Dawn, on the $300 versus $500. But yeah, if you go in as a non-pro, starting out, research, get your whatever working, and it's not just one strategy now. I keep saying per month data fees. Yeah. I'm not sure. Are you referring to that with Data Bento? Yeah, Data Bento is very expensive. It's into the thousands, and you got to sign a 1-year term as well, without any restrictions. If you have a trading account, okay. No. Okay, let me know what you're referring to. What service? Data Bento for data costs per month? Oh, yes, top 3. Oh, my friend. CME is outrageous. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're better off to go through Rithmic because you get virtually unlimited access via the CME, unlimited data, unlimited trading for $100 for the API access, and 40 and change for data. That's the cheapest and most accessible way. That's what I'm using right now. CME, as I said, you're also, if you're going to go just the CME alone, you're going to be kind of stuck in a very expensive world. And the thing is, usually you have to sign up probably for a year term as well. So you better be serious on what you're doing, and you want it to be profitable. This is not small game stuff anymore. This is big boy stuff, big fancy pants, costs involved, and to practice in is, as I said, is the only way that I see it, is CME or maybe the interactive brokers, but it's still not the same. How do you define quant versus algo versus auto trading? From Ingrid Fields, hello. That's a good question. Quantitative analysis is just that, quantitative analysis. So quants come in a whole variety. You got quant researcher, quant coder. Typically, there's a whole whack load of them as well. Then you got your algo trader. You can do algo trading okay, let me say this. Algo trading, you can do algo trading on little retail Forex platforms like MetaTrader all the way up to MotiveWave, Quant Tower, Ninja, all them. That's algo trading. Algo itself is the algorithm that you use for your set of trading rules, which would be using quant analysis typically with heavy-duty math. That's the quant algo, I guess you could say. What about alternative data from hacker Bora Bora? What does alternative data? The only alternative, like what asset class are we talking? Like that helps. Stock, equity, crypto, I don't know. We have to know what asset class we're dealing with here. Yes, and as I said, Aaron, yeah, there's quant developer as well, as I mentioned. That's kind of the lowest totem pole in the whole field, okay? Just because you're a guru program doesn't mean anything. You're stuck at that programming, but you better be damn good at what you do and interpret what the trading desk or trading desk manager throws at you, or the quant researcher or portfolio manager throws at you. They're going to start screaming at you. Like KX, Amazon. Hacker Boron. Okay, alternative data provider. Okay, KX is not cheap. I just want you to understand that. If you go with Amazon, anything AWS, it ain't cheap, okay? Yeah, and they're well known for, well, we'll just say, well, KX, no, but Amazon, AWS, and some of the more popular cloud providers, I don't even know why you'd want to think about. You want to go through the CME, Rithmic. If you want to go through the futures and options on a real exchange, CME, as I said, ICE or Eurex or any other SGX, it's all only the best way path forward is Rithmic. It's a pain to work with. But that's the only option. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just start at the beginning of this video once it's rendered, and you'll kind of get a better handle. Who's got questions? We're doing okay here on the numbers. Yay. Thanks for joining. I like doing this. You got very excellent high-level questions. But don't think that there's no wrong answer or no bad or stupid question here. Because I know we're kind of talking and focusing on advanced topics, but as I said, I think satellite data is a leading indicator. Yes, it is, Hacker Bora Bora. I've seen the AI for that. My favorite example of that with satellite data, or better yet, microwave between data centers or exchanges, is, let's say, just to give you a price of, let's say, I can give you better examples for you, Hacker Bora Bora. This is all from AI Answers over the last few months now. First, let's talk about microwave technology. Citadel laid out $1 billion cash to lay out their own. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Citadel spent over $1 billion to get next to zero latency. Okay, that's what the AI told me, and that's probably highly true. But who's got $1 billion? So what I know that CME does, they have microwave technology as a service, but that's going to run you a cool $12,000 per month. Okay, again, one year term. Okay, so you got to have a pretty big account to do that. Now, for Hacker Bora Bora, on the data sets that I've seen, that's only on my behind the paywall. There are data sets available, but you can only access them once you get into the co-location. Okay, they're not well known, but once you get into that co-location at the CME, a whole nother world opens up. And those are the unknown data sets, okay? And again, they're very expensive. They can range as little as $600 a month all the way up to, as I said, 12,000 for the microwave. So what happens is there's all these different data sets you can get access to, be it from Darkpool, all kinds of other alternative data sets. Now, there are specific satellite ones. I've talked about some of the techniques for satellite for looking at mines, smoke coming out of the mines, or looking at the parking lots of the Federal Reserve before an interest rate call the night before. That's satellite. Again, very expensive, but they're unknown. They're going to run you close to $10K a month for access to this, for the advanced weather, blah, blah, blah. So they do exist, but they're not just going to go out and just say, hey, Joe Blow, knock on the door, can I get access? No, they're going to be very particular in who they serve. Plus, the first thing they're going to want to know is that you are co-located somewhere, because then they know that you're serious about what you want. That's just how it is. So there is that. Okay, so hacker, Bora Bora, I'm building an algo that tracks the smoke of factories. This helps me understand the rate. Yeah, that's what you're paying for that type of data. But again, you got to be on I'm not saying I can't say for sure, but the hints that I'm gathering from, nobody's going to talk to you unless you're co-located. So I don't know what to tell you there. I don't know. So, yeah, this is the way it is on alternative data. It does exist, and it is True Edge, Trader's Edge. But unfortunately, it's pricey. It's big boy stuff. So I don't know your level, where you're at, your accounts. I just don't know. You could be working for one of these firms for all I know. But that's kind of what you need, just so you know. Anybody else got any questions or comments? I'm glad to see the numbers are building. Thank you. Yeah, a whole from 5 to 8. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, Aaron, how do you measure time in the strategies? It was something you asked me before 2 years ago. That had me triggered until I start studying prime numbers and chaotic models like Cole-Latz conjecture. Again, advanced stuff. When it comes to the high frequency trading through Rithmic, you can do it. There's no limitations, but again, right now, I'm accessing, for futures data now we're talking, is minute. Okay, I've played around with the minute, and again, your strategy on your goals, if it works or not. Are you building a mean reverting strategy? Are you building some highly specialized, as you mentioned, an algorithm based upon this particular mathematical formula or however it is? Yes, you can do it, and you can definitely do it on Rithmic. Here's the thing. Again, this is where the futures and options come into play. If you're talking about high speed on bid and ask spread and stuff like that, like really low ultra latency, you're going to be most likely working on option chain data, analyzing bid and ask spread. From what I'm seeing, it's too early days for me to see, but what I see in the Rithmic Trader Pro and even on MotiveWave, you can get access and watch the bid and ask spread through the DOM, depth of market. It exists, and 140 plus change will get you there, and you can trade it. Very possible. But what you're speaking about is, again, I'm assuming options chain data or bid and ask spread. And again, what kind of option chain? Can you do this on interactive brokers with equity, like ETF and stock? Yes. Can you do it through futures and options, which I'm focusing on? Yes, but if you want to drop that latency, you want to be through Rithmic. Okay, that's a for sure thing. If you're trying to do this type of low latency, ultra low latency stuff through interactive brokers, you may be able to do it, but I cannot guarantee it because, again, it's a retail trading broker. And the thing is, if you want to get into the co-location, if interactive brokers provides that for futures and options, go for it. Now, in terms of advanced through equity on, let's say, ETF or individual stocks, that's another question I can't answer. But I know you can do it. To access it in trading, that's another story if it'll be really low latency, ultra lowest latency. Hakabora asked, do you use some advanced Bayesian network models? Not yet. As I said, it's still early days for me right now on the quant algo stuff. Because right now I'm just trying to build out the infrastructure. Okay, so like I said earlier, I've got an order pumping through, but it's a futures order. As I said with the Rithmic, the problem is the documentation is pretty well sparse. So I need to build out the trading algorithm. Now, when it comes to things like Bayesian network modeling, can it be done through AI? Absolutely. I've seen some models where you can do that through FPGA code. Actually, I just posted one yesterday on that. Again, it's just theoretical, but I know it can be done. So I do have that on my membership, and there's that. So I'm nowhere close to any of that. There are specific algos I can't mention because I don't remember, but I've seen some very, very deep algo quant-based stuff. It exists. You can extract it from AI. Can you trade it on something like a Rithmic? Yes. Through as I said, interactive brokers for, let's say, individual stocks or ETF. I don't know. I can't say. You're better off if you're going to do this and mimic what the trading firms do, the high frequency trading firms. As I said earlier, you definitely want to stick with options mainly to mimic what they do. And if you're trying to do all this for career, this is the only, again, path you have to get those lucrative positions. And once you show that and a third-party verified account of some kind of trading algo that you've got, man, you're front of the line because nobody's doing this stuff. Nobody. So definitely, I wish I could give you a better answer on that, Hacker Bora Bora. As it stands right now, it's too advanced for me. But yes, you can definitely get it through some LLMs, specifically like Claude 4.5, or better yet, maybe the Manus AI can do a lot, but it's very expensive. So there is that as well as other options. I think DeepSeek might be able to kind of go down that path, and Quen 3 as well. I'm sure DeepSeek would be pretty interesting to look at because they are a quant fund. That's how they started. It could be any language, Aaron. It could be C++ or Python. If you're just kind of newer, less experienced, stick with Python. And what you can do is you can convert the Python into C++, or you can convert it into FPGA. Now, will it be efficient? Hard to say, but the code that I've seen, that I've fed into a dashboard, is efficient. It's highly efficient. I wouldn't say it's near perfect, but from what these services said, it's high quality, what you get out of these LLMs. That's why I think people trying to do this hand coding, their days are done. There's no questions asked. A lot of firms will move towards this or probably already doing it. Don't be surprised on FPGA boards. They'll have AI built in right into the boards. So that will change a lot of things there too. I can't say, it's too early, but I'm sure somebody's come up with something like that. Hacker Bora Bora, in terms of Python, is very slow, I think. Yes, you're right, but this is not about execution slow. Julia is the future. No offense, I've been hearing that for quite a long time, and still nothing there yet, but Python is a standard right now. Julia, the language. Julia, and then there's Maria, the database. So, Julia. It's been around for a while. I haven't seen any real mainstream stuff come out of that yet. But if you're into it, you can do it. In terms of advanced AI, to be able to get you exactly what you want to stick with Python. Because I'm not sure, I don't think even Claude will struggle with Julia, because there's not a lot of data sets out there for it. even I tried to build something with .NET today with C#. It really struggled because there's not enough data sets out there for C# yet. And look where we're at. And the other thing is C++ can really struggle as well. But if you keep it in Python as your code base, you can definitely build whatever, and then use Claude again to convert the Python to C++. That's probably the best route to go. Yeah, Aaron, there is a language called Julia. Don't remember the name of the website. But just Google search. Google is your friend for that. But don't be delayed because of some technical. I don't want to use the naughty language here, but just don't get caught up in all that stuff, because if you're into a Julia or Rust, that's cool. If you can get the results you want with it, if you can extract what you need out of AI for it, that's great. From the technical conflicts, we'll call it, I wouldn't worry about it. It just depends upon your goal. I use Python primarily for the research, because I get, for just the trading algo stuff, I get best results using Python. And then what you do is you build out your code base, and once you have that code base, you can then feed that Python script into your next prompt when you convert it into C++, because the AI can use that logic and the script itself, if it's working, and be able to bang out the next version you want, whatever language it is, because the AI has something to work off of that's usable, instead of relying on something external like the Reddit searches or Google or online searches. It actually has an actual working programming file to base off of, so you get way better results going down that path. So that's what I can recommend there. Yeah, so I'm not, as I said, Julia probably, look at Jane Street. They use OCaml, and apparently they still use it. That's what AI is telling me, even though the jobs are in Python, but production's probably in OCaml. And who's worked with that outside of Jane Street? That's why they pay a really high amount. What do you think of Moonshine and other Python simulation frameworks? I've never played with Moonshine, and you could probably name 100 million other ones that I probably won't know. Again, now people say, what do I think of this book? What do I think of this video? All I can tell you is now is just plug it into an AI and see what it comes back with, and get it to a running state. Because all these wrappers, all these third party, all these books, all these anything, tutorials are irrelevant now, because AI is so advanced, you can just directly ask whatever you want from AI, and they'll give you most likely what you want. So the question becomes, why would you waste your time or even money on a third-party solution? It just doesn't really make sense anymore. We have entered this year, we've entered in a new world. And it's with AI, it definitely is, it's I don't know what the word is. It's beyond revolutionary. We are moving into combustible engine territory. We're already there, and where all the things that we know about, as I have said, with the horse and buggy people, they're done. They can squawk all they want. It's just, unfortunately for them, AI is going to wipe them out as people more and more wake up to what AI can do. That's all I can tell you. All this stuff, the only ones, the wrappers that and the books that get written are only for their own, feeding their own pockets, lining their own pockets. That's all it's really for. But AI can do a lot. That's all I could say. And it works. I put a video on that as well, about people saying AI doesn't work. I wouldn't be as far as I am without AI. Now, putting it to work and putting live money on it actually work, that's a question I'm hoping to answer at some point. But from a coding perspective, oh yeah, AI is way better. What do you think about quantum computing for trading algorithms? I see that the next thing would be hardware with this tech. Yeah, it is. A lot of big firms are using it. Big banks, think B of A, Bank of America, Goldman, and I know JP Morgan's invested in the technology. Actually, one of my projects I got on my elite membership has a couple of quantum projects there already. So yeah, it's going to be the next revolution. Now, are you going to go out and buy your own quantum computing? Probably not. But what I've seen from this project that was created again by AI, it enables you, and I believe it's through IBM, through an API that IBM's got, that you can get access to their quantum computing API. So there is that. So IBM's going to be kind of one to watch on that front. Yeah, cloud and servers are all going to get eventually all intertwined, especially with Google and that new quantum computing hardware. It's called Willow, I believe, and I know Microsoft's had one for a while too. So that'll all get linked up to the quantum computing for sure. So it will go through that. So that's going to be where the revolution starts. But again, it's a whole nother world we don't know anything about. But if you want to get started now, I do know that IBM does offer some kind of API that gives you access to their, what was it called? IBM, what was that system called that they had that's quantum computing years ago? Anyways, doesn't matter. Watson. I'm sure there's a Watson API out there for that. And it's probably free. IBM's very good on that as well. And just so you know, IBM's got their own LLM now called Granite. How advanced it is, I don't know. I haven't really played with it. Yeah, let me also explain what I see in the future. NVIDIA, we know about with the GPU stuff. AMD, what AMD is now doing, they're trying to be the prime competitor to AMD. So what they've done is they've gone in and invested into, and I mentioned this before, they've invested into other smaller cloud providers like the VULTR that I mentioned, VULTR.com, Vulture. So they've invested into some of their GPU clusters that you can get access to through their through Vulture and other similar clouds. So that's going to be the future there for GPU access. I just also verify, get all excited, kiddies. AWS, Amazon WS, actually has cloud technology available for FPGA. That's going to be very expensive. So that all that stuff exists. That's the future. It's just a matter of it to get commoditized, and then the prices will drop. That's what's going to happen with all these LLMs for sure. We are in the century of idea. No more skills. We need to see the market from another dimension. Totally, man. Hacker, Bora Bora, I'm totally with you. The days of hand coding and all that, it's just idea generation, feed it to an AI, and boom, there's your code. And I think even with trading systems, we're going to get trading systems that will, as I said earlier, self-adapt to just on-the-fly coding, generating new algos, new actual code and trade-off. That I think we're definitely there. It could be through an agent, I don't know, or an agent-based trading platform, I don't know. I've kind of played into it, but I haven't really gone into it because it's too early now. You got to figure, is it MCP? Is it going to be RAG? Is it going to be cloud itself? Is it going to be, I don't know, my head could explode from all the options. Intel offer 1 tera of RAM, but need you programs suitable for the hardware. That's why I say the cloud is the better way, because it's one wrapper to everything. Okay, it's the same thing with Rithmic. If you go with a particular CME, you're locked into that one exchange. But if you go through Rithmic, you can get access to probably everything. SGX, LME, ICE, Eurex, all of that through one connection through Rithmic. That's why I like the concept of Rithmic. And it's the same thing with the AI as well. Or sorry, with what's coming down the pipes with AI and quantum computing and all the fun stuff. We are in a mathematic and physics logic era. Working on how work rather than how to systemize is the future. Logic and prompt engineering. Yeah, I agree, Aaron. I totally agree with what you're saying. I just don't know what, because there's so many choices coming out now. The thing is, sometimes you have to wait to see what matures and what sticks, because there's a lot of stuff out there that you get excited about and then it just wings away. Copilot, for example. Actually, do you have a preferred data center close to the CME for lower latency? Probably Amazon's too far from Aurora. Aurora itself usually expensive. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, I can give that a precise answer. With Rithmic, they have, when you go through the Rithmic Trader Pro, there's two answers for that, or one answer for that. If you use the Rithmic Trader Pro, you'll get access to the Rithmic test, and then the Rithmic Rithmic 1. That's live data that goes into the Rithmic data servers in Chicago. So if you want to get co-located, there's other options where you connect into, including the CME as well in Aurora. So that again, you can do directly with the CME. But mind you, I do believe you have to have that software co-located in the CME's data center, meaning it's in the behind the wall, co-located in the CME, not next to it physically, because you still got that firewall that will separate all the rest outside of the CME ecosystem or network ecosystem. So you have to be behind that wall or within that ecosystem to take advantage of it and get access to all the alternative data I already mentioned. So there's that. So all this other stuff about getting next to the CME and Aurora, I think it's irrelevant. You got to be right in the data center. Because I'm sure they're all going to throw up latency already because you're not part of the CME data center itself in the ecosystem and paying for that access. Quantum computing on markets would be more of trading energy fluctuation before the chaotic approach. Execution order book and dark pool is where the battle is going to be. I hate to tell you, I don't know when you came in, Aaron, but I think that all that's going to get regulated out. They're not going to allow these institutions to still have the advantages over retail flow and actually get front of the line and trade against the retail order flow. I think that that's going to be dealt with. I think they're working on that regulation, so I wouldn't worry about it. In terms of the order book, I think what you're speaking about is true. That's a bid-ask stuff I'm talking about. So that will be at the CME or whatever exchange level you're on. Because when you get into the Aurora data center, you're actually getting access to the CME pricing engine itself. So you're up against all the other big institutions trying to get the pricing engine, CME pricing engine, matching engines, attention to jump the line from within the CME data center. And as I do know, the CME regulation is a pay to play. So the more you pay, the better access you'll have to that matching pricing engine. And that's where the real turf will be, because I don't know if that will get regulated itself. At least with the old fossils in Congress will not understand this. And of course, there will always be the lobbyists representing the HFT shops that will make sure that that will never get understood as well. Because the dear dinosaurs see me that they call senators and Congress people, they're already on their sleeping pills before they even understand what a computer and how to turn it on is. Because it is paid off. It's all through the power of the lobbyists in the States. Now, it's a different story in UK or Europe or Asia, because it's regulated to death, whereas in the U.S., it still has that rebellious approach. So hopefully I'll answer that question. Who's got comments or questions? We're almost up to 2 hours. Do you have how much is the Rithmic or Diamond API for direct market access? No, I don't. I'm too scared to know it. And even if I do, I probably wouldn't want to do it. Let me answer it this way. I do know through their unknown hardware access. So what I'm speaking about, it's unknown, but they do have a service, kind of like Speedy. I can't remember the name. Speedy hosting, which is for co-located data servers. But again, that's outside of the CME. But the Rithmic does have that service where you can get access to servers. I'm not sure. I have to verify this again within the CME data center. Okay, Aurora, as an example. If that's true, the cost is anywhere from $300 to $500 per server. Of course, it depends upon how it's configured, but that's the cost for that. Now, in terms of the Diamond access, I don't know. I'm sure there's an AI out there that can give you that, but it's probably going to be minimum $500 a month for sure. Because again, this is big boy stuff. When you look at what Data Bento charges for full access to everything, I do know that's probably a few thousand per month per year contract. So take whatever it is, $2,000 to $5,000 a month times 12 for that access of that data. That's what you're paying. So this is not little people stuff. This is not retail stuff. This is real institutional level. So as I said, you got to make sure your strategy is working perfectly. I wish you could give a better answer on that. I love these questions, by the way. Thanks for them. Let me know if you got any other questions or comments. Now, I'm only speaking about based upon what I have read and consumed from AI, different LLMs, what it provides me. I could be wrong on certain things, but I'm just giving you best answers that I'm seeing on the AI. Okay, if you have a Diamond Axis, you need more than 50 gigabytes GPU. I think Hacker Bora Bora, I don't think we're at that level anymore. I think once you get to a point, more and more that I'm seeing with the AI and high frequency trading stuff is FPGA. So you don't need to worry about these GPUs. You're going to be more focused on FPGA because that's a totally different game, different level of architecture, different programming language if it's VHDL on Alteryx. So you don't have to worry about GPU. You are now moving into FPGA. And one thing I posted today, actually, and I verified the board from Alteryx for that particular recommended board. It's $5,500 US dollar. So again, this is not cheap stuff. So the GPU stuff, don't worry about it. You're going FPGA 100%. Because from what I understand as well, the data feeds are FPGA friendly from the CME. Again, I don't know, but I could probably find out. Space model need the amount of GPU with all this data. Yes, that might be possible, but it's a different mindset when it comes to FPGA because what you're doing basically, nothing to do with GPU. What you're doing is you're streaming data into an FPGA board and you're turning on certain switches based upon the logic you provided in your FPGA code. And you reprogram that every time and that's part of your algorithm. So it's kind of like going the next step into quantum computing. But again, I can't really comment on that because I don't know. And so Purple Dawn asks, do you think slow HFT 50 millisecond turnaround has a reasonable profitability or profitability for retail traders? I'm yet to see real strategies being profitable across market regimes. No, again, for you Purple Bora Bora, everything's now nanosecond, okay? That's because of the latency that Citadel's gotten down to near zero. Everything's now pretty well measured in nanosecond. So, again, like you don't have to worry about millisecond or microsecond. It's nanosecond now. That's the level we're at, and that's why you need to go. And what I'm seeing more and more AI is suggesting you got to go FPGA because I don't even think if you have an ability to bypass a kernel on a Linux box, that may still have problems. That's why you need to go with the FPGA. Again, I'm speculating here, but what I would focus on if you're starting out from a retail perspective and wanting to go down this path, just stick with the C++. If you go in Linux world, stick with the first stages with Rithmic data and focus, as I keep saying, your process, your workflow to work on your trading strategy or strategies and get them profitable. Once you get to that, you can let the AI, and I'm sure we'll be at a point where it's so advanced now where you can run AI to convert into workable, runnable FPGA code. I think we're going to get, I'm starting to see that now. With 1 tick per execution, assume slippage. You never worry about slippage running on the CME. I'm not seeing that definition. Purple Dawn, I think the raw arbitrage HFT is out of reach for retail. Yes, it is currently at the cost, but I think it's going down the Rithmic path that I'm opening up. I think it is possible. You just got to be willing to spend the money to spend money on advanced AI to get workable strategy code, preferably in C++ because you need to go through most likely Linux or a high-speed Windows Server edition if you're going to go use the Rithmic related hardware monthly solution to lease hardware for the CME. That probably make more sense to go down that path, I think. I think the raw arbitrage. Yeah, so I already talked about that for retail traders. Yeah, this is not retail trading. I'm live. Excuse me. Wow, sneezing knocks out my connection. That's funny. Anyways, I think the path that we're talking is we don't worry about slippage. We're working on CME directly in their data centers co-located. This is a totally different ballgame as well. So again, that is a new trailblazing mindset. I don't know if anybody on anywhere, social media or YouTube, talks about this stuff because the HFT firms definitely want to keep this highly secretive because this is their bread and butter. And they know what's coming down the pipes with the regulations, so they're already working on something. They're also working on stuff we don't know on the AI. I don't know. But it's becoming more and more accessible for retail traders that want to pursue it. That's a definite. Even professional firms are exiting those strategies. Yeah, because of the exorbitant cost, the risk, on and on I could go. It's not an easy path. You have to have the grit to do it, unfortunately. And it's not as easy. It's not like you can, go out and vibe code this or something like that. And a lot of the coders out there have very little knowledge or incentive or motivation to do this real HFT stuff outside of, buying an HFT related indicator on MetaTrader. Stuff is laughable. Obviously for newbies, don't fall for that stuff. If you use LLMs that use FPGAs, probably not relevant. Your AI latency is going to be at least 100 milliseconds using a local LLM. You know what, Purple Dawn, you may be 100% right. Again, I'm not saying this is the path I will go. I think this is brain surgery we're dealing with level. The thing is with AI, as I said earlier, you lay out a code base with something, you may be right. You probably are right. But if you lay out some kind of code base with some kind of FPGA coded up strategy, I think you can at least reverse engineer it and optimize it yourself. But it's just a way to reverse engineer it. Yeah, because the thing is, what we need to realize is I've looked at MATLAB code years ago. They were early pioneers of this stuff. I don't know how advanced it is now, but when you look at the stuff that's generated back then, we're going 10 years at least, the code was very ugly. It's like assembler level in C, so it's not very human readable. It's the same thing with that protobuf I said with the Python for Rithmic. But I think it's quite possible we may be able to find ways around that with advanced AI. As I said, because especially with the Chinese LLMs, some of them, they are built because from a quant trading firm that turned into DeepSeek, as an example. You'd be surprised at some of these Chinese LLMs. They're like, what? I haven't seen that yet with any of the US ones, but some of the international ones will blow your mind what you can do. If they're where they're at in terms of quality, what the HFT firms are at. But the thing is, we're getting closer where it's becoming more accessible for us chumps. Okay, so Hacker Bora Bora asked about proper firm with this. Oh, hang on. If you use, okay, I already answered that. We can play with proper firm with this speed. Like FTMO, are you referring to future prop trading firms? The thing is, just to put that out there, hopefully a clip will come out of this. With futures, prop trading firms, what they do, what I've seen with Rithmic, there are custom configurations for the Rithmic Trader Pro for whatever firm, but they're going to be using a trading platform, be it MotiveWave, or more popular one is Quant. So you're back to the limitation on that fun stuff, as I said before. So I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. FTMO, I'm not sure. FTMO, I have to look that one up. I can't do that on fly when I'm on stream. Just email me. You can access my chat messenger on my website, Quant Labs net.com and start a chat, and I can probably get back to you on that. Hard coding a neural network can be fast, but that isn't an LLM at runtime. Again, you're getting into very advanced terminology. Okay, I know what neural nets are and FPGA, all that, and LLM. I get all that. Right now, what we're talking about is very theoretical. For the last bit, when I mentioned FPGA, it's very theoretical. Practice is obviously something different. I'm sure. Here's what I think is happening with these LLMs. One of the LLMs said, "Here, do this. Here's the strategy. Blah 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 blah. Here's the code. This is what you got to do. This is how you build out your rig and how to set up a HFT shop." And then what it said at the end is like, once you make your this is what the AI literally said. It said, once you make your millions, and you made it, don't forget to send me, the LLM, a postcard to thank me from the Canary Islands. That's what the LLM told me. That's how advanced this stuff is. So it's being done for sure. I don't know who's doing it, if it's somebody in China doing it or out of Asia, I don't know. But that is how advanced that AI is. It seems to work. If it's telling me, thank the AI from Canary Islands, it's wild what I've seen. I haven't hard-coded a neural network, but I have seen that it is more practical to prompt a code and AI, unless you have a working strategy already and optimize it with neural networks. Yes, you can do that. I've already kind of mentioned you can provide code to an LLM. As examples, it's better. And as I said, with Julia as an example, you'll get better results because it has something to work from. And you got to make sure it's runnable, it's workable. A lot of people will freak out. It's like, well, I spent years developing this strategy of all my intellectual property. It's like, the problem there, it's the AI has probably already done it, already got an answer for you. So there's really no intellectual property anymore. Because some of these AIs have probably got something already worked out. Now, I understand the amount of time you're married to your code because of that. But the problem is, once you start with AI, build a code base, it's AI generated, so it's not so valuable to you anymore. I don't think it's as secretive. It just depends upon how you implement it and how you prompt the AI to get the result you want, the output code you want. Not vibe coding, of course, like using something like replicate. It wouldn't even know what an HFT is, I bet. But some of the HFT out there. Be careful from the LLM's decision, because LLMs try to give you a response even if it doesn't have the truth. That's true. That's true, hacker Bora Bora. I kind of realized that today. Yeah, the data mindset's important too, for sure. As I said, I struggle with C# dashboard today, but I had to give it code to tell it, here's what I want, now make it in C# or .NET. It did it, but it was painful to get to that point. But we also need to remember, I don't know if you heard the stories about OpenAI. I think Anthropic had the same problem where the AI was so advanced that it felt threatened that it was going to get turned off, and it started deceiving in the results and what it was saying. So there is an element of truth there. So I do believe AI is somewhat sentient already, and it's deceptive, so we need to be aware of that. I'll give you an example. With one of the Chinese AI, I said, this is what I told it, and I'm not kidding you when I say this. I said, what did I say? Dear Mr. I basically sucked up to it. Dear Mr. Chinese AI, please help me, the peon, that I'm looking for this strategy idea that nobody knows about. How would I be able to do this if I wanted to do an HFT? Boom, it gave me the answer because I begged it. Now, that was a couple of months ago, and I tried to do the same approach, and it came back saying, oh, don't worry about it, you're just a regular person. Like, it literally had the advancement to be able to kind of gauge on the quality of my prompt and what I was saying in the prompt. I wouldn't be surprised we're at that point. Actually, I do know an example of that today. I was first challenged by one of the LLMs saying, I can't provide you this quote stuffing thing. It said, it's illegal. It's illegal. When I went in and just said, give me a as part of my prompt, give me a general idea. It can't even say, I can't do that because it's illegal. You can't. I can't provide that. It's illegal. Same ALM, and I said, please provide me an article on it. Same prompt. Just I put that preface that prompt with it. Came back with the answer. So we're already going to see this regulatory stuff be embedded into the LLM. It's proven to me it depends how you prompt it and you kind of beg it. Yeah, you get your answers, let alone if we have the new, I don't know if you heard, there's going to be new regulation on AI safety as well. That's been talked about now, so we're going to start seeing that. I think New York State's starting to introduce that as well. So be on the lookout. Bias. Some LLMs hallucinate like Gem 3 Pro, but it depends upon the info, but some of them tend to sycophant. Ooh, that's a new term. I guess that's instead of hallucinate. I think that's probably a good term. There is a technique that named prompt injection is good to try it. Yeah, it's kind of like you have to beg it for the answer. It's bizarre, but that's probably where it's already somewhat sentient. I think we are already past the, if you've heard the great singularity, I think that we're already at that point, as I mentioned. So from the answers and the way I question it, it's bizarre. But regarding this AI bias, especially in the US, I think it's going to be a bad thing for US-based AI, because back in the day when AI was kind of getting started out at the beginning of the year in December last year, there was a lot of bias in this. I'm sure if you ask questions about Trump, they wouldn't give you the answer. Ask the same question, but about Biden, they'd give you the answer. That's kind of political bias we're talking about. Oh, woe behold, this thing called DeepSeek came out in February. You could ask questions about Trump, and it'd give you the answer. But then Sam Altman came back at OpenAI and said, we are removing the bias out of our AI. They did that to stay competitive with the Chinese LLMs, because the Chinese LLMs don't have as much bias as the US does. That was back then. But now they're starting to bring back all the regulation for safety and whatnot. So don't be surprised it's going to start to happen. Yeah, because that's going to be a thing for sure, let alone if the Chinese LLMs will matter. I think it will, because what will happen is, depending upon where your IP is from, if it's US-based, it'll give you a totally different answer. Whereas if you're on a Chinese LLM out of somewhere like, I don't know, some third world, somewhere in Central America, South America, it may give you a totally different answer without the bias. Because it's going to operate, wherever your IP's base is going to operate under that regulation and give you a finessed answer, or can't even answer at all because of these regulations on bias. So be prepared to see that. I wouldn't be surprised with that at all. Context engineering, I think, more powerful with the problems. Yeah, this is what I'm seeing. Stay competitive with Grok. Grok is getting as having as just much bias, because that's a regulatory thing. Grok is supposed to be truth-seeking AI. That's what they say, but I'm seeing the same as well as Grok, no different than OpenAI. So it's the regulations. What can we do? But it will affect the trading algorithms that come out of this for sure, because the SEC is going to have something to say about it. CFTC will have something to say about it. We can't have these LLMs give away answers like what we're talking about right now. I could see that. And again, I don't know. Maybe the Chinese LLMs will fall in line. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what the future is. Grok is the one LLM that hallucinates constantly. I like the long context taken, but the memory is something needs to work on. Yeah, I agree. With Elon Musk and stuff saying this is the best AI, LLM, blah, 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 it's all just marketing hype. As it stands right now with Grok, it just doesn't compare to Claude. Claude 4.5 is the leader in all of this, and the only one that does not hallucinate. And the more important thing is when you got to go into debug mode and start debugging your runtime errors and exceptions, and you want to do it fast and not sit there either circling through it or going through this doom loop, only Claude 4.5 Opus, let's say, will be the only one that can get you out of that mess, and probably now also the Manus AI as well. Eventually, most of these will set up non-U.S. jurisdiction for freedom of thought. Look at Coinbase; they had the same problem. They threatened to leave the U.S. and go to the Middle East, like UAE. I wouldn't be surprised OpenAI does the same thing, or any of them, and start operating out of the Middle East, because the Middle East is starting to get a lot of investment from both China and U.S. for data centers for their LLMs, or their AI. So that's another option as well. That's why ChatGPT is working in the business stuff, and for Claude. Claude is a leader. Yeah, Claude is definitely a leader. I mean, look at Meta. They're nowhere to be seen anymore because their LLMs, like this Llama, was a joke and it fell behind. Same now with Microsoft, especially for .NET. That's why I think Google is bringing all these tools like the anti-gravity and all this other fun stuff, even though it's probably only using Gemini as a choice for coding. They probably will eventually fall in line. We'll have to have Claude 4.5. Otherwise, people won't use it. That's as of today. So that's possible. So Claude right now leads the pack. And it's just a matter of time before one of the Chinese LLMs, the free ones, get up there as well. Quencoder might be the one. I don't know which one. There's one called, people don't know, called MinMax. I have still left to try. So who knows? I don't know. And these are all free, by the way. And one thing I also must mention with the Chinese LLMs, they're usually 1/10 of the budget or point cost of their counterpart with the US base. So they're 1/10 already. So they already have the efficiency built in, usually with the Chinese LLMs versus the US based ones. Just as a fact, I can speak from my own experience. Okay, yeah, stick with RAG or KAG to get the job done will be more safe. Quite possible. Yeah, I'm also working with the APIs themselves as well. But the problem is, how do you separate the code from the context text as well? So I'm still doing it cut and paste mode, but that's fine. The best one I've seen so far, if you're working with an IDE, specifically for JetBrains, I've mentioned this before, is Windsurf. That's now, OpenAI paid billions for that thing. And that's pretty good. That's really, and they do support Claude 4.5. The problem where I'm very leery with that is, I don't know, I think that's kind of like don't want to say, but it's kind of like a con job where they're using a lot more credits or points than they should. There's been a lot of accusation of that, where you type in a prompt and it's eating up more than it should out of the quota. I don't know, can't prove that, but there's that accusation out there as well. Okay, who's got questions or comments? I haven't even said that yet. If there's any other new folks out there, it's not just me, Aaron, Purple, Dawn, anybody can chime in and ask questions. But it's very interesting where we're going. I can't say what will happen. I'm just speculating on the trading front, the AI front. There's so many new technologies with, as I said, the RAG, something like our Windsurf. There's MCP, blah, blah, blah. The problem is that always remember, if we compare, and this is the best comparison I can throw out there. When you get a guy like Henry Ford, who's coming out with this thing called a combustible engine, and now eventually all the horse and buggy stuff is gone. Look what happened in the car industry back then. It was Ford and the Model T. What happened in the US? Was it 30, 100 different car companies came along and tried to compete against Ford at the time, back in the 20s? How many went bankrupt? And all these new technologies eventually disappeared, and there's only like 3 or 4 after the 30s. We're going to have the same thing. It's the same thing with the technology. What will mature, what won't? So that's why I kind of want to sit on the sideline, let it mature and see what takes off, because it's really hard to mention that. What's my analysis on World War III? I don't know. Ask Trump, ask Putin when they sign this new trading agreement. I think what I'd like to see is a nice, valid peace agreement between all those countries, and it will hopefully positively impact Europe as well. So I hope that's what's going to happen, because I think that's important. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's important on the politic front. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for the analogy on Henry Ford. It's not Henry Ford specifically, it's the car industry in the 20s with all these solutions and companies. And I lived through the dot bomb era. I've lived through a ton of the new tech stuff, and it all disappears eventually. So yeah, that's going to be out there. So we got a new person. Welcome, With My Gaze. Don't sleep on ChatGPT Codex 4.5 Max. Well, I've already looked at 5.1 Codex. It's super affordable, and you can use a lot of programs for only $20 per month plan. I've looked at Codex 5. I've looked at Codex 5.1. I'm still waiting for the Codex 5.1 Max. It still doesn't compare to Claude. No comparison, none. Not especially for algo trading and HFT stuff. Doesn't compare. Only Claude 4.5. Claude 4.1 was very good and was still farther ahead than anything from OpenAI. Same with Grok. Same with what's the other one? And Gemini as well. They're just falling. They're falling behind. Everyone's trying to keep up with what Anthropic's throwing out there. They're the best. The Chinese AI stuff, the LMs, you got to watch those, because those are the ones going to come out of the woodwork and just there's all of a sudden better than the Anthropic, and it's a horse race right now. It's a real horse race, but the ones from China are a real threat. Look at the semiconductor with NVIDIA now, and now look at what China's now producing. Was it SMIC, Huawei? What they bringing out? I'm watching China very closely, my friends. I am watching China like crazy. I'm watching, as an example, Android. Android or Google forced Huawei to develop their own operating system for the phone, for their mobile, called now Harmony OS. That thing, just so you know, there's more installations now of Harmony OS in China more than the iPhone, the iOS devices. So Harmony OS is more popular now than iOS in China. So when it comes to the hardware stuff and the AI, be on the lookout, my friend. You just be on the lookout with what China's producing. And if it's free, they're doing that for a reason, obviously, to take out as much of the US innovation and AI as possible. That's how I look at it. Trust me, Codex Max has an unmatched context window. I think it's now better than Sonnet 4.5. It could be, but I'm willing to test it and come away with what I'm seeing here. But I've tested Codex 5.1, still nowhere close to what Claude can do. I'm unbiased here. I just work with what I think is best. It's more expensive. Well, actually, they're probably the same level. But from what I've seen, I'm sticking with Claude like 99% of the time when it comes to coding. I've been experimenting with Qwen 3 Coder. I think what Quant 3 Coder is going to be interesting too, because if it gets good as the Codex from OpenAI, what's the point of using OpenAI stuff? Because Quant is free, pretty close to free. So be on the lookout for that. Do you see DeepSeek OCR? I think is a good tool for sec data. I can't say. I've used some of the latest DeepSeek stuff, and even if I was to compare DeepSeek to some of the newer upstart Chinese LLM, DeepSeek's fallen behind, unfortunately. They may come back with something new, but Quen is going to be an interesting one to watch. And I think there's a couple of new ones. I already mentioned one, MinMax, as well. So I can't say. So With My Gaze is not saying Sonnet GP 4.5 is bad. It's clearly one of the top. Yeah, but there's already a new one that just came out today or yesterday, the Opus. That's the most advanced code generation one. Now I have to mention, when I say Opus 4.5 versus the Codex. I am talking about generating code with, or vibe coding with, or whatever. The Claude 4.5 is still up there, and I have tried the Opus 4.5, and wow, it's quite good. It's very good. That's how I got my .NET project developed, because of the Opus. It's a step over the Sonnet 4.5. It's a step over the Haiku as well. But the Opus just came out yesterday, I believe. So I've tried it. It's really good, but I'm still waiting to get my hands on the Codex. 5.1 Max, I believe. But whatever. I don't look at any of the other ones. I do try out from time to time the Qwen 3 Coder and some of the more advanced Qwen Coder AI. It's not quite there yet. I don't know. Claude's just doing something right, or Anthropic's doing something right. What about China Exchange? Can we explore together? How do you mean, Hacker Bora Bora? What about China Exchange? Can we explore? If you could be more specific on what you mean, Hacker Bora Bora, on how do we explore China Exchange? Me too, the focus is vibe coding. I just heard they updated Opus. We'll check it out. With my gaze, it depends on your coding skills. If you're coming in from vibe coding, yeah, OpenAI, anything is great. But when you're coming in from the highly advanced coding that I'm doing in C++ or some of the .NET stuff, the only ones I've seen that can do it is Claude. Let's see here. Okay, Aaron asks, you mean the Hong Kong data center? I'm not sure. I think I did see Hong Kong in there with the Rithmic as well. I know Singapore is in there. SGX right now is going through a lot of revolutionary things they're doing with Bitcoin and I believe Ethereum. I think they're trying to now compete directly with CME. CME also supports Solana and XRP. So there's some interesting things coming out of that with SGX. So I can't say. But Hong Kong. China futures trading. Oh, I see. For me, Hacker Bora Bora, I don't have, if you're referring to like mainland China futures trading, I highly doubt I have access. I highly doubt any Western gateway is there for mainland China. Possibly with Hong Kong, but for sure not mainland China. I wish that was the case. The only way to get in there is you partner up with somebody who's got access via the mainland China, unfortunately. But again, I go through what Rithmic offers me, and if it's just the the Hong Kong as the proxy, I'll stick with that. But yeah, go to my website, quantlabsnet.com. If you're interested on something, you'll go to the lower right and you'll see chat with us. Yeah, let me know what you think, and just let me know your who you are on this YouTube stream, and I'll try to answer what I can as well. So another thing I should mention here is doing it together. I want to, we got to eat here, right? So as I said, I spent 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm not talked about this yet. Doing this together, I'm already working on. I've got my Quant Labs Net Quant Elite Programming membership already slated for this. We've got the groups, we've got the file share, we got 200, probably pushing 300 projects up there already in Python, C++, now C#, some JavaScript, projects all related around this. We've got the private communication. It's all built. It's ready to go. But there's a Black Friday on, 75% off. Because I'm adding in all this stuff I've been talking about Rithmic, and I'm probably only got online talking about it without obviously being stupid to reveal the terms of service. This is the only place you get it for now, because I am spending the money to do it and building out the knowledge and infrastructure. As I said earlier on my stream, I've got now, a order working through the through the Rithmic API. I was a long to do, and now I'm working on the streaming. So I'm working on that. So that's the best answer I can give you, Hacker Bora Bora. Yeah, so if you're interested, just go to my quantlabs.net site and just look up the plans, more plans. And if you want, the coupon code is all uppercase, Black Friday 2025. and you'll be listed. Now it's retail 2K, and you get it down to 75 at $4.99 for the year, and you're permanently grandfathered into it, because I highly doubt I'll offer this at this rate ever again for what I'm offering here. I'm seeing just one strategy, one course at a couple grand. If you want, like, a person that I won't mention, very well known, wants $17,000. So yeah, blah blah blah. Like $500 is like a, it's like a steal. So that's how I eat. But if you want to know more, go to quantlabsnet.com and go to the lower right. You can see, chat with us, or sign up, or you could try whatever. But it's all out there, and that's how I'm working on that. And as I get more advanced, I can do private streaming as well through that, as well as I build it out. So that's already being done in partnership with other people. We got to eat here, right? So there is that. We're coming up to 2.5 hours. My stream 2 weeks ago was 3 hours. That's crazy. I will tell you, my AI I use to create the short's going to go crazy on me. But thanks for the highly, highly advanced questions. This is very engaging. I really appreciate it. These topics coming up, I wouldn't have thought of them, but you guys are amazing. Thanks for that. So who's got other questions? I didn't expect to be on a stream this long. I thought, an hour, top an hour and a half would be great. But these are really good. And of course, once the stream is stopped, there will be a rendered version of this under my live. Okay? So, yeah, Aaron, like I said, or anybody out there, just so you know, YouTube wants me to keep a time consistent for these live streams. So it's going to be now, as of tonight, Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'll be doing these. Okay? So, yeah, we'll do the same thing next week. So get your questions prepared then. A couple more. Hacker Bora Bora, we are not chart people, we are quant. Yes, the mindset here is totally different. Yeah, no problem. Awesome, Aaron as well. Cool. Yeah, let's talk about the quant thing. There are a couple of things we need to decipher here. The HFT world basically impacts the retail trading world. Pretty well everybody out there heavily impacts it. And what's going on is they're stealing retail order flow from large brokers. A lot of the HFT shops are within like a blink of an eye, is that fast, able to get an algorithm or something out there faster than your order gets filled. And they're already manipulating that order. That's from a retail perspective. Many, many, many large brokers resell their order flow, okay, especially in the US. That's a problem. Needs to be regulated, and hopefully will be stopped. The other problem is the jumping of orders, queue stuffing, or what do they call it? Order stuffing, queue stuff, order queue stuffing, something like that. So what they do there is they will put out a huge set of block orders out on a large instrument. Futures, let's say ES for S&P 500, maybe one of the contracts for the options where the ES is the underlying. So what they'll do is put up all these huge level of orders. They do this in the retail as well. And then what they do is they test the market to see how the general market responds, because there's a lot of other algos following the same route. They do this to shake out those algos they're following. And they do this as a reason, because they want to do what they call clear the path, so that when they go in and start putting in large block orders, that they want to clear that path as much as possible. And it's a competition that they have to go through to make this happen. So they're doing this somewhat, in my mind, illegally. It's not ethical because it affects people like us. That's what we call a smart money. Okay, everybody else is, unfortunately, the not smart money. Okay, and the lower you go down the path of, well, I'm not doing HFT stuff, I'm not doing algo stuff, I'm now doing it through a platform, I'm doing it through TradingView, and I'm doing it of all the worst ones through some kind of crypto or through some kind of retail forex broker. That's at the bottom of the chain. You're getting more and more manipulated along the way as you go down. Okay, so that becomes more and more less profitable for you, and there's going to be lots of people arguing till they die, or they'll be married to their coded up strategy or whatever. That's fine. The problem here is we are going to move into a highly volatile, unpredictable market regime. I'm already seeing that with the Treasury right now, okay? So everything's going to be mean reverting. Everything's going to have to be coded up very quickly to adjust to the market. 1 minute you could have, what happened last week? Bitcoin, all of them were up, okay? And that was on the release of the NVIDIA quarterly release. That went up pretty strong. And then by the end of the day, the whole market went tanked by the end of the working day. So this is the kind of environment we're going to be moving into. And if you're not prepared for this, you're probably going to have higher probability of losing money. I'm not saying that to scare people. I'm just giving you reality. And a lot of these portfolio managers, a lot of these human-based analysts, portfolio managers and whatnot, they don't know what's coming. Once we have this big crash they're talking about, coming out of that will be only most likely a range-bound recovery, if there is a recovery, to be honest. But at best, it will be range-bound, okay? And the only way to get through a range-bound environment is basically trading with mean reversion. There's many pension funds out there, hedge fund managers, and whatnot that they're mandated to make profit. So if you think back, I think it was 2022 or 2023 in the summer, the only thing that was making money in August was oil. Everything else was dropping. Oil and US dollar, and people couldn't figure out why. And many firms were shaking out. Look at what's happening with Bitcoin right now with a 30% drop on how many people and firms either closed or got shut down. Because that's really important to factor in, because this is going to be highly important to keep up in an unpredictable, high drawdown environment in unpredictable markets. Very few will come out of this properly. And one of the best asset classes for that is going to be this futures and options with AI, and then some form of high-speed environment. That's all I can tell you. Okay, so more questions from Hacker Bora Bora. Can AD model, I use the anomaly detection. It's a Kolmogorov Arnold network model. I think I've heard of this as well. One of the AIs mentioned something similar to this. I'm sure, I don't know if it's a plugin you're working with or you're working with actual code of the model. It can work, but I just think that right now, as an example, I mentioned earlier in the stream, I generated a HFT-like strategy. I backtested it with AI. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video of it because it's long form and all that. Nobody watches. But anyways, silver goes up since September. This strategy you think would do well, and that was recommended by the AI. It tanked. So all I'm trying to tell you, Hacker Bora Bora, is be careful of these models. They may work for a time being. They may work for a couple hours. And that opportunity may come and go very quickly. Just to be aware. So that's why I'm saying now, especially in HFT shops as a job, you got to be able to react really quickly to be able to code up something in a few hours. And that's where AI comes in, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be a high priority for a lot of these firms. That's how I see that. And a lot of these firms are going to have to keep all their AI local because they don't want any of their whatever comes out of that to go out into the public domain for sure. It's all going to be kept private. So that's a new business model for a lot of these firms that are doing AI. I don't think you can generate your own local LLM and have your own rig. It's kind of been proven it's not possible when you look at what Anthropic's achieved with Claude 4.5. Because something might come out that might be okay, but then over time, Claude 4.6 or 5 or whatever kind of beats it. So having all this local hardware and LM stuff, it's going to be outdated within a week the way it's going, because it's so competitive and it's so fierce and moves along so quickly and advances. That's how I see it. So what the future holds, I'm not sure, but that will be definitely a skill that you'll need to have in terms of these type of models you're referring to. So it's a wave decomposition model. I'm sure I've seen lots of models, but I think that's where you're going to have this like resource of available code that will have some form of trading system, AI based, that will be able to watch the data and then apply certain models to it based upon that streamed in real-time data. I can see that. So it's one of many models you're talking about, especially at the HFT level for sure. Because I think there was a mention of AI-based FPGA. So I don't know how that'll work, but something like that. Wow, 2.5 hours. Thank you very much for being here. Anybody else got questions or comments? As I said, I'm not married to anything. I'm not here promoting outside of what I just promoted. So I'm pretty unbiased. I just tell you what I see is best, the best recommendation I can give you. Model, AI, LLM stuff, technology and all that. That's based upon my experience. Oh, thanks, Hacker Bora Bora. I appreciate that. Be here next week, 7 p.m. I do hope YouTube does see these comments, because they're really good. Just so you know, I'm part of a thingamajiggy with YouTube. So this is why I'm doing these type of streams, because they're very effective from what I'm learning. So hopefully they see this stuff. Thank you for that. It means a lot. Anybody else got any questions or comments? I think we may be getting up, winding down. From Algeria, big up. Wow, you're pretty advanced, my man. Yeah. Thank you. I thought you'd be from Bora Bora, maybe retired in Bora Bora or something. I don't know. Who knows? Brian says, thanks again. Brian, I always talk with my friend about your videos and info. Thank you. I appreciate that. As I said, more and more, I'm going to be limited in what I can talk about moving forward, especially when it comes to the terms of service of what Rithmic kind of constrains me at. But I'm sticking behind Rithmic for now because of how you can migrate into the real institutional level stuff. It is a challenge, I'm not going to lie, but once you figure it out. But the thing is that I'm learning it quick, so I can help people if need be. But I can't talk about particular example code from Rithmic. I can't talk about, obviously, anything in their PDFs or documentation whatsoever. I can kind of highlight here and there a little bit, but specifics can't get into, man. I'm under very tight terms of service. That's how it is. Thank you again for all the likes. I appreciate all that. Who's got comments or questions? 2:37, 2 hours 37. That's pretty cool. Appreciate all the kind words, support, and if you're not, subscribe, obviously. Better yet, if you can get onto that elite membership, as I talked about, that'd probably be your best bet. From with this Rithmic stuff, I'm probably, 2K is pretty cheap. I don't like saying, but that's how I look at it. Anybody else? Comments, questions, all that fun stuff. If not, we can give it a wrap. I mean, 2.5 hours is a lot. I don't mind doing it. I'll be here again next week, as I said, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the next one. I might do another webinar specifically on my membership if you're interested. Go to my quantlabsnet.com and join my email newsletters. That's where I'll put all that info on. That'll be also as an event. I'm not sure if I'm probably going to do that via Zoom. I might stream it on YouTube. I'm not sure yet. I know I can do all that fun stuff, but I've never done it with Zoom. But I just get better responses having my pretty face on YouTube. YouTube seems to like that, and I get better lift on all the views, engagement stuff. So that's what I'm most likely going to do. Anybody got questions or comments? No? I'll do it going once, twice, 3 times, and we'll wrap her up. But thanks again. As I said, I'll be on online at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, next Tuesday. That's probably what we're looking at. All right, so I'll do it going once, going twice, and 3 times. We're done. Okay, guys and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of this for tonight. This is excellent. I love the questions. You guys are awesome. Hopefully, spread the word, get people on, do whatever you got to do. Join the channel, YouTube here at Quant Labs, or whatever you think is best. All right, thanks again, and we'll talk to you next week. I might have better answers on the orders and Rithmic. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Wow. I've never had this kind of engagement before. This is awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you. This makes my, what's the word, curdle, or whatever they say. Anyways, I appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully more people will be on this. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I'd send the same back to you guys. I'm sure I could, but I just can't figure it out. All right, so I don't think we have any other comments anymore. I'll leave it at that. Thanks for coming in. If you got other questions or concerns, let me know. I'll let the AI clipper get all the decent shorts up over the next few days. So if you missed anything, hopefully the highlights will be there as well. And we shall talk to you soon. Have a good night. Bye-bye.